Okay, so welcome to Sprite's Lunch and Learning series. I will keep it super short from me to give the speaker maximum time. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Masood from the University of New South Wales in Sydney, who will offer us a comprehensive view of how advanced bots operate and how they can be countered. So over to you, Dr. Masood.
Thank you, Stacey, for your kind introduction. So, hello everyone, I am Rahat Masood, and today I'm going to talk about the social bot behavior and its detection work that I'm doing since last couple of years. Just an introduction about myself. I did my PhD in user-oriented privacy. I've been working in cybersecurity since last 15 years approximately, and currently I'm working with the Australian Defence Government and the government for many cyber-related projects. You can talk, see about these projects on my websites as well. The link is given here. Um, so currently I have three research focuses which I'm working on. Number one is privacy preserving technologies. And in privacy preserving, I'm working on implicit user tracking, which includes tracking user through their touch gestures, through their writing patterns, through their behavior, which is not very obvious, but can lead to the tracking. And my research projects outcome lead to the results that user behavior patterns are as unique as their fingerprints. That also got a little bit of media attention back in 2018, if I remember correctly. Currently, my recent focus is on usable and inclusive privacy. I've been working on privacy for refugees, privacy for children, privacy for women, domestic violence abuse, leading to privacy exploitations as well. So that's one of my area, privacy preserving area. Second, I'm working on social bots detection and disinformation, which will be my talk today. And then I'm also working on behavioral biometrics as well. These are the projects that I'm working on defense because that is also related to the sensors, user patterns as well, and how through different data sets, through heterogeneous data sets and multimodal data sets, you can identify users. And of course, through passive networking. So I'm very much happy to discuss all these different types of projects that I'm doing with you. Please feel free to email me about it. So coming to the topic, presentation outline, I will start with the basic introduction of social bots detection, how they work, how they operate, how sophisticated they are, and then a couple of three projects. Briefly, I will talk about the three projects that I'm currently working on in this area. So we have seen that the social bots have been there now. We have seen since 2016 that those social bots actually leads to US elections swing over there. There is a political propaganda that these social bots have in mind. Obviously, being operated by humans at the back end. These social bots also lead to defamation as well. These social bots also lead to racism as well, hallucination as well. Obviously, there is a people who are operating them, but once they actually start these bots, it's very hard to overcome and very hard to detect them as well. So we have seen in the news since 2016, it's been going on, but this issue has been growing a lot in the last couple of years. And we have also recently seen this year that generative AI is also a risk because through generative AI, you can create social bots, and these social bots actually can lead to some hallucination, some misinformation that you cannot control, and can lead to racism, radicalization in the communities as well, and obviously hate speech. So what is social media? We know that the social media has this three main components. One is information. You post something on the internet. Second is that you have a profile over there, your identity, your account. And then third is that you use the social media for some campaign, for example, to sell something, to actually promote an idea and an ideology over there. But with these three different types of things on social media, it comes misinformation as well. Obviously, the information that we are sharing might not be correct. Social bot detection social bots is another, or fake accounts is another issue over there, and then malicious campaign as well. So these bots are not operated alone. They actually have a hidden agenda. They are connecting to each other. They are talking to each other, coordinating, and then based on that, they actually take the agenda with them. So these are the three things that actually, if I say what these are, is social media manipulation, SMMs, we call them, which includes misinformation, fake accounts, and malicious campaigns. So this is the first work that I did, where we actually try to analyze these three different entities together as an ecosystem. Imagine you have a user, and this user, let me just, yeah, can't minimize it, but yeah. Okay, so we have naive users. They have some beliefs over there, confirmation biasness, homophily users that follow somebody with some belief. Then we have malicious users. Those users could be human who are malicious, could be a bot who could be malicious, or a combination of both. And then we have over here the bot types. So these bots are humor bots, defamation bots, trigger bots, political bots over there. And then these bots actually spread some information. That information that they're spreading could be satire, could be false information, or fabricated information. And then obviously these bots are not behaving alone. They actually have a coordinated campaign. So these campaigns could be malicious or could be benign, depending on what the agenda is. And we actually, all this ecosystem, we call it online social media manipulation landscape, which includes misinformation, bot usage, and malicious campaign over there. So my first study was how these three elements coexist together and what is their dependency on each other. So when we were actually doing the literature survey, we find out that the work on the misinformation detection mostly focus on the content over there, but it doesn't focus on, for example, user opinion or follower account ratio or the other social context over there. So the bot detection also didn't never consider these social contexts, that bot now can coordinate with each other. They have a follower accounts, friends ratio, user opinions, they have comments, they can reply. They actually have exactly same characteristics as a normal user account. So these studies that detect the bots or the misinformation do not actually consider those social context. And the second issue is that these bots detection studies focuses on measuring the automation, like optimization of those bots and how we can create the bots, rather than focusing on what these bots are doing, what their hidden agendas are, what are the characteristics of these bots, and how we can detect that properly. So these things were missing from the literature work when we studied that. And this is the graph that I can show you here. Uh, and this was taken from internet. This is not my graph, by the way. Uh, uh, from 2006 to 2022, we can see there is a surge in the forums discussion about bots, fake news, misinformation, and disinformation over there. And then on the right hand side, we can see that from 2026, the dark lines over here are showing human accounts, and the light lines are showing the bot accounts over there. And we can see that with the time, these bots accounts are increasing. The light accounts are increasing, which means that in social media, bots actually are being more prevalent than before. And if I see the generation of social bot behavior, we can see that previously there was on-demand bots that you actually created to do something, some task like chatbots or something. Then you can actually create adaptive bots, which includes that you can personalize those bots over there based on your own customization and requirement. But then comes the sophisticated bots that actually mimic the user behavior, that actually mimics the user account, and it's just to avoid the evasion techniques over there. And then comes the coordinated bots that comes with the generative AI that actually coordinate with each other, and they can successfully run campaigns with very little input from the user. So these two spots then become the attention of my study. I started doing that from 2016. So these bots actually are coming from 2016 onwards over there. And this is one of the project which we did. What we do is that we try to find out that this is, so green part is basically user. So we can see when the user creates an account in time t, with the time it's evolving. With the t plus time, it's evolving. For example, it has more user followers, more user accounts, more user preferences, more likes, more posts and stuff. But if you see a red line or red part over there, that's a bot account. And you can see that they evolve very quickly. and they are going towards a human behavior over there, human mimicking behavior over there. And then there is a part which is called imitation, that they actually would like to imitate the behavior of the user over there very quickly. So these are the two things: evolution from a bot to the user, and then imitation, just like a user, was the part of my study that I did, and the sophisticated bot. And how I did is that through the self-supervised contrastive learning over there. So what is this? What is self-supervised contrastive learning? I will explain it in later slides. But basically, what it does is that it actually combines it pushes the two different pairs apart. Two different things apart and pull the same things together. So this is the main crux of self-supervised contrastive learning, and we can see it in the past. This is a study done in 2020. The previous data sets, if you see, so blue is basically the human accounts, reds are bot accounts. You can see in the previous data set, it was very easy to detect them using some machine learning techniques. But the last three data sets, you can see it over here. It's very hard to distinguish which one is bot accounts and which one is user account. And we can see it in the studies that these studies did do study these data sets, but it's very hard to detect that. Their accuracy was very low. And in particular, there were two data sets in them, Veril data sets and Jelani data set, which we studied. The political feedback data set, we couldn't do it, unfortunately, because it was suspended. So these were the two data sets that we started working on. And the research that we targeted were three over there. Let me go to the slides quickly over. So the first problem is that how we can actually detect these sophisticated bots and how we can distinguish it that they are not user accounts. The second problem is that if you have a data set, the studies, what they did is that they have the data set, they actually do develop some model, and for some data set the performance is very high. But if you actually take the generalizability and take another data set where they are not trained on, the model is not trained on, the accuracy gets lower over there. And the third thing is that vulnerable to adversarial attacks as well. So these, as we see, these accounts keep on evolving, keep on imitating the user behavior. So adversaries keep on creating the accounts that actually are hard to detect on the social media network. So can we develop a model that can actually make it harder for the adversary to bypass the social bot detection mechanism? So these are the three contributions that we did, and we did it through contrastive learning. As I explained it earlier, contrastive learning means that you actually pull the same things together and push the negative pairs or the different things apart from each other, and that actually help us learning the high level representation of the objects. And how do we generate these pairs? We generate these pairs through data augmentation. So this is a data augmentation techniques come from computer vision. In computer vision, it's very easier because you can crop, you can customize, you can change the color, you can change the background. But when it comes to online social media network data, which actually is not the image data, it might include integers, strings, other tabular form of data, structured data. So we actually need OSN inspired data augmentation. And for that, we use three different types of augmentation. One is I actually take an input and I create another pair with some random sampling over there. For example, I change the profile name, profile description to just make it very similar to the user account. And then the augmentation two basically is the mice imputation technique, which actually means that you nullify some values. For example, you remove the profile description, you remove the profile picture. So these are the different augmentation techniques that you use that actually an adversary can use to mimic the user behavior on the social media network. And this is the overall contrastive learning method that we use. So I will not go into this detail, but it's just a normal machine learning method. You have encoders, projection heads, and the purpose at the end is that to pull the social bots characteristics apart from the user account characteristics, characteristics. For that, we use feature engineering, of course. We use tier one in feature engineering, which includes user metadata, for example, for account followers, account name, profile description, profile image, user tweets, what the tweet exactly is, tweet metadata, which includes what is the similarity, context of the tweet itself, what are the keywords used in the tweet, and the tweet temporal data, when was the tweet posted, what is the likes and dislikes of the specific tweet, and then the network information as well. So network information, we couldn't do it. We actually just focus on tier one because we had an API issues and it was very time consuming and resource consuming as well. So we just focus on on tier one over there. And with this tier one, we actually combine all these features. There are different number of features within each of these categories. We combine them, make our user representation, and once the user representation is formed, we apply the data augmentation techniques. Those augmentation techniques go through the contrastive learning, and then actually we have a contrastive loss over there. So higher the losses, it means that you actually are not successful in generating the bot pairs and human pairs separately. You have to have a lower loss over there. So to test that, we have different baseline methods over there. Bottometer is one of the very famous accounts. We tried that, and then SETA was one of the recent self-supervised graph neural network method. We used that, and then we tested on Jelani and Viral data set that I explained you earlier, and we found that our method, which is BotSSCL, is much higher, is much better in accuracy compared to the baseline method. 6% to 8% F1 score is higher for us. And then we also not just tested on these two data set, we actually get the much larger data set, which is called 2iBot 2022 data set. It has 200,000 nodes over there. We tested that much larger data set with edges and nodes. Nodes means profile and edges means network information. We take that data set and then run different methods on that one, plus our POT-SSCL methods, and we can see that overall our precision recall FN score is much higher than the baseline methods over there. So this was the method, and we also did some ablation study in that as well. Ablation study was very comprehensive in this work. We actually remove the different feature categories. For example, we remove user metadata and see how the accuracy look like. We remove user tweet and find out how it looks like. So, but overall, we find out that combining all these features give you higher accuracy over there. Then we also studied, so this was overall the ablation study, but this I couldn't include because of the time constraint, but there were other studies that I did, which includes removing the increasing or decreasing the epoch size, the batch sizes, which basically that parameter sensitivity analysis. We also did generalizability test training on one data set and testing on another data set. So all these information was captured in the paper, and the paper link is given in the slides over here. Then my so this work which I did actually tells you the bot likeliness, but it doesn't tell you about how these bots are coordinating with each other. Remember, there were two parts. One is sophisticated bots and one is coordinated bots. So next, my study was on coordinated bots, like how these bots are coordinating to actually form a malicious campaign. And for that, consider this thing. You have a user account, user posts some word over there. For example, I need help in actually logging into the MetaMask wallet. MetaMask is basically a cryptocurrency wallet. And that MetaMask is here is a trigger word. If you write it in the post, that triggers the social bot, and actually you will get a reply from that bot over there. And that bot actually is, as I said, it's behaving like a user. It has followers, it likes the tweets and all that, just like a normal user over here. So that is called a trigger bots. Trigger bot means that they actually are scripted in a way that if somebody writes some word, they actually will reply either or like either or post something into that user account just to actually coordinate with the user over there. So they are called trigger bots. So in the malicious campaign, my work focuses on the trigger bot specifically. And that work is recently been accepted in NDSS 2026. We did a comprehensive analysis on those bots. So basically the problem that we figure out is that it is very hard to distinguish between a human and the bot over there. That's fine. But then another problem is that you need to distinguish between a malicious campaign and the benign campaigns, because remember, the social media networks are not just used for malicious purposes, it is used for benign purposes as well. So how can we distinguish? Okay, there is a campaign, but whether it is benign or malicious was one problem. And then how these malicious campaigns specifically evade the detection strategies on the social media network. And then the third is that can we develop a model that is more resilient and set up under the realistic conditions. For that, what we did is that we actually create a Honeytrap tweet module. Honeytrap tweet module means that we create a couple of tweets with the trigger words in them, and then we post it on the social media network X, Twitter, and then when we post those trigger words, obviously we get the trigger bots replies from them. Once we get those replies, we start crawling the data about those bots, and then we measure about them. For example, what are their followers like, how many tweets are they doing, what are their modus of operandi, and then to try to detect that. So this was overall methodology of this work that we did. The keywords that we selected were based on the internet articles. We find, for example, in the internet articles that MetaMask, for example, was one of the very popular keyword over there, and it's like a trigger word. So we use that as a way to filter out the keywords for us, and we can see it in these posts from the users that, for example, sugar daddy, wallet, MetaMask, IPTV, shrooms. They are the keywords that have been used mostly in the trigger words by the trigger bots over there. So then these are the four different campaigns that we try to detect through this work. Deceptive support campaigns. Deceptive support campaigns means like I need help with my IT. My laptop is hacked. Can somebody help me? Hacked is a word. Then illicit product campaigns means like I want to sell some shrooms over there or drugs over there. How can I actually? Can somebody help me? Misleading giveaway means like, for example, sugar daddy. Oh, I'm feeling alone. Can somebody help me? Oh, I'm here for you. I will help you. And then benign campaigns like selling your logo, graphic designing, and all that type of benign campaigns. So these are the four different campaigns based on these keywords that we figure out through the internet articles and different research papers. We filtered them out and use that. So this was a tweet generator module that looks like we actually post a tweet with a timestamp over there, and then we get these trigger bots replies. You can see all three of them are trigger bots. This is just one example. So we run it for 1 month. In March 2024, we get 600 tweets, one in the morning, one in the evening. We tweet that for 30 days. And we actually got 2,600 TB agent replies over there. TB agents and then TB agent replies are 4,000. And these are some statistics from those TB agents. TB means trigger bots. And by the way, when we run this study again in January 2025, most of these bots were suspended by the Twitter, by X. 802, for example, in malicious one. Malicious one is the deceptive support campaign. So these were suspended. So these are some statistics that we got. And then we did month-wise study as well. So we didn't just do it in March 2024 and forget it. We actually keep on running our Honeytrap module each month and see how these trigger bots are behaving, whether they are still dormant or whether they are still active. And we also, because there is no ground truth for this, we actually hired 3 human annotators to work with us and find out um, and whether these are really the TB bots, trigger bots, or the human bots accounts. So that actually validate our study as well as a ground truth. So this is basically again the same methodology. We have Twitter platform, X platform. We have a Honeytrap account that we set up. We actually post something on that. The TB agents basically find out those keywords and try to interact with us as well, just like a normal TB victim over there. And then what we find out is that these TB agents are not working in isolation. They have TB masters, just like a proper command and control servers at the back end. These TB masters are controlling these TB agents, and also these TB masters are being controlled by the TB form. So there is a big form, like a click form sort of thing, where they actually are being coordinated, being controlled, being commanded on what to do next about this specific victim. So my study focuses just on internal to X platform. We didn't focus on external to X platform things. For example, if somebody's asking you to message on the WhatsApp after this conversation on the social media networks, my study didn't focus on that. So it was not end to end. It was just focusing on what X is doing in terms of trigger bots detection. Then we did a lot of comprehensive analysis, profile setup. We find out what is these malicious campaigns look like. So for example, you can see here in DM enabled, direct message enabled, that malicious 3 campaign, which is basically the sugar daddy campaign. These type of campaigns do not ask you to, they don't give you URLs or mentions. They ask you to directly message them. So their percentage is way higher than the rest of the campaigns over there. And then we also did a study on when they were created. So most of them you can see are created in January 2024, most of them, like more than half of it. And if you see the benign campaign, it's very balanced across different years. Then we also did device preferences, which devices they are using to coordinate with their victims, the language they are using. Obviously, it's English, and then device preferences are Android. So we did this study, and then their modus of operandi as well. Modus of operandi means like how they are connecting with their victims. So for example, email for malicious one campaign, which is the deceptive support, like I will support you for IT support or something, they're asking to email. Then for the sugar daddy type of campaigns, they're asking for direct messages over there. And for benign campaigns, they are just giving you URLs like, this is my URL of my blog, my profile, please look into it and connect with me. So these are the different modus of operandi that these different campaigns are using. We also did some content analysis, like how they are evading the detection method, these trigger bots, and we find out their context similarity is way higher than their synthetic similarity. Synthetic similarity means that they are saying different words over there, but their meaning is the same. So we did quite a lot of study in that. There are also other analysis which we did, but I will skip it because I do not have the time to cover all this. But overall, I'm saying that it's easy, it's difficult to detect the trigger bots, but it's not hard, or it's not impossible. We also did some detection as well, where we try to find out what these detection but how what features I could be used to detect these malicious campaign. We did a multi-classification and binary classification, and we didn't actually create our own module, detection module. We just use classifier like baseline classifiers, machine learning classifiers, and llama large language models, and see what which one is the best one, and XGBoost give us the higher accuracy.